Hey guys, glad you're all joining. Okay, sorry about that little glitch. I'll figure it out for next time when it's scheduled. Sometimes the camera doesn't come live when I need it to, but hopefully everybody will get here in good time. Okay, first of all, thank you for coming here. It's a Sunday morning, Saturday night for some people. I know we have people joining from a lot of places. We're talking today about 100 days of focus. Now, we know how things are. Even the biggest mountain, the most insurmountable of hurdles, can be overcome, can be reached by just chipping away at it a little bit at a time. We know that theoretically, but the question is, how do we get there practically? And that's what I'm hoping to help all of us with. Rather than just thinking of like goals as a big pinnacle that we need to reach, what could be helpful is for us to just start thinking of this as like new paths that we want to forge, right? Now, the thing is, these paths are a little unknown. They are scary. We've tried many paths before and we haven't found our way. We've got deviated. And yes, there are a lot of temptations. So, how are we going to hack all of that? That's what we're going to try and figure out today. Now, the first question you need to ask yourself is your big why, right? Our desires are simply endless. There's just no limit to what we want to do as human beings today. But it's really worthwhile to ask ourselves why we want to do it. If your reason is the same as George Mallory's, not Edmund Hillary, not Edmund Hillary's, that the Everest was just there. Well, everything is just there, but we have finite energy, we have finite time, and we have finite resources. So we may as well pick our actions a little consciously. So, in terms of your why, think about things like your bucket lists, your big goals, the six pack that you want to get, the 10 kilos that you want to lose very specifically. What is that going to mean for you? What will that do for you? What sort of happiness will that bring you? What sort of satisfaction will that bring you? And then what? Okay. So it's worthwhile to just look at our goals and understand how it fits into our life and what value it brings us. That's the first question we need to be asking ourselves. The rule of thumb, keep in mind, is that the more unselfish, the more wide reaching a goal, the greater and the more permanent the source of happiness is for us. That means that if you're thinking about a business plan, you want to build a company, if your focus is, oh my God, I'm going to reach 100 crores in like 2 years, that is going to come with its own set of hurdles, its own consequences, versus a goal that said, I want to build a company that brings value to people, that gives employment to people, that fills a need in society. That has a completely different set of consequences and its own hurdles. But the advantage of this particular goal is that there is no you in it. It's not all about you. You are not the doer. And I can say that for myself as well. Any of my friends who know me will know that I get very nervous. I'm a prize procrastinator. But when I picked my goal, initially I thought, oh my God, it's to build like a really fabulous coaching practice, bring lots of coaches on board. But I said to myself, you know what? Maybe my dharma is a little different. I see things, I feel particular things. Maybe what I want is to give access to life tools that people can choose for themselves and create their own most authentic paths, even when they cannot afford something like coaching. And that to me is giving me so much more a sense of purpose, a so much more sense of joy. And funnily enough, there's no nervousness in it. How can I possibly fail when there's so many forces working with me? And that's really the second part of it. It's about analyzing where you are right now and your whole life in its entirety. It's great to say, I'm going to get a six pack, but that means a lot of eating right, a lot of exercising. Are you honestly going to be able to keep that up? Is that just going to add a lot more pressure to your day? I also had a yoga teacher once who had, by the way, if you have any comments, please keep them coming. I'm watching, and I have someone helping me as well, my lovely husband, who'll pass on things to me that I miss. We will take questions as well about how to actually go about this if you have specific questions about your goal. So this fabulous yoga teacher said to me, he said that, look at yourself and understand where you are at and what you want to do. So if you're like lazy like a donkey, and no, this is not to condemn donkeys in any way either, But at that point, you need the kind of teacher and you need the kind of practice that's just pure pain, right? The teacher is going to push you, pull your limbs in ways that they've never moved before. It is going to be grueling practice, and that's your first step. But as you do that again and again and again, you slowly start to build up a flow. Things get easier and easier. There is a saying, that which is bitter in the beginning becomes sweet in the end. But the corollary to that is, that which is sweet in the beginning must become bitter in the end. So take your pick if you had to between the two. So it's about analyzing what you can fit into your life, who you are, how much energy you have, what obligations you have at this moment. But for that, there's one little qualification I want to make, which is that we have a lot of must-dos that we think that we have. I must do this. I have an obligation to do this. Good time to sit and think about that as well. A lot of these are things that can be done by somebody else. They don't need to be done right now, or indeed don't need to be done ever. We've just put all of this pressure on ourselves. And now let's think about, what are the things that are going to give us lasting joy? Think of us, we're in Google Maps right now. We've seen we are here. Now we want to think about where we want to go. For that, it's really nice to think about moments when you are indeed happy, but happy in a sort of contented sense, right? And the rules are not very different for most of us. All of us want good health. We want good relationships. We want satisfying work. Yes, we know that binge watching Netflix is fun in the short term, but does that give us lasting joy? And that's the question you need to be asking yourself. So pick your goals like that. And they don't have to be big ones. Like I said, this is for us to ease into the new year and carry it forward. So if it's exercise or weight loss, let's think of it in terms of, you know what, this much I can do for healthy eating, this much I can do in terms of weight loss, in terms of exercise. And that's why I picked the time of like 20 minutes. It's 1 hour can be a lot for most of us. 20 minutes, you can get enough done in. If you can put in the hour, if it's about exercise, by all means. If it's something like journaling or even a quick workout, a quick meal prep, a quick plan that you need to make, a quick meditation, even 20 minutes is plenty. But the point is, you need to show up for it every single day. Now, even if you don't want to journal on a particular day, you can at least that can be time that you've allocated to think about what you want to write. If it's a blog post or if it's a business plan, that 20 minutes is sacrosanct for you to be thinking about your goal. How do we create accountability? That is the next step. We now need to figure out again where we're at, what our particular personality is like. So this is where you pick your guru, you pick your teacher, you pick your buddy. Again, it's down to a few simple tactics. You need to figure out which one works for you. If this is the time to engage like a personal trainer, go ahead and make that commitment. We have, you can do a personal trainer for a few days a week, but speak to the personal trainer and said, hey, listen, on the days I don't come to you, this is what I'm going to be doing. This is the time to engage a coach if that's what it takes. If it's a class that you want to sign up for, tell your friends, tell your family, tell me, tell the group. We have a group on Facebook that we hope will become a place for you to chat and share these goals. If it's of any help, I'll share my goals with you. By the way, this is my third 100 days of focus. Like I said, my friends know that I'm a prize procrastinator. So I always think of myself as that, look, if I'm not doing something consciously, then there's a good chance I will lapse into my old habits, because that's, 43 years of old habits, right? And it's only now that I'm creating these new paths, these new grooves in my brain. And so when I began at the beginning of this year, I used 100 days of focus to finish writing my book. I used it to do a course. I used it to manifest my business plan. I used it to get better with my meditation. I used it to get better with certain other habits, particularly about keeping myself centered. And just that awareness, because you're now thinking about that every day, a lot of the fluff will go out of the window, but also you'll start seeing signs for that every day. I've said this to a lot of you that assuming you suddenly decided you want to have a baby, Now on your commute to work, it's the same road that you took every day, but you will suddenly start seeing so many hoardings, so many clinics, so many advertisements saying that, oh my God, here's a gynecological, here's a gynac, here's a hospital where you can deliver your child, here's an IVF clinic, here's this, here's that. How are you suddenly seeing all this? Because you're focused on that. And that's really all the science to this is. The only other bit of science that we're using is we're using a little bit of group dynamics. We are, at the end of the day, human beings, and we are social creatures. When you know that somebody's in this struggle with you, when you know that you're not alone, two things happen. One is that it gives you the courage to just try, even if you know you're going to fail, because there's no judgment in this. And the second thing is a little bit more subtle. You know you're going to have to show up because somebody else is waiting there for you. And this is my promise to you. Even if there is one last man standing on December 31st, I will be in on this, giving you the videos, giving you the support that you need. So you need to ask yourself, are you going to be that one last man standing or woman standing? Or are you going to be the one that drops out? About daily practices, failure is okay. Please be kind to yourselves. If you've set yourselves a goal of an hour to do something, that's great. It's a nice to have. But if not, do try and get your 20 minutes in. If not 20, get 10 minutes in. If not 10, get 2 minutes in. Because 2 minutes is still better than 0 minutes. All right, that's the other hack that you can use. We all look for perfection. We would love to all be sitting on a beautiful seaside, meditating in the calm when everything is perfect. But even if you do find that seaside, there could be seagulls, dropping poop on you. There could be noisy kids around you. So life is never perfect. Look for the now. Grab your moments, and they are everywhere. We're all commuting. We're all waiting in meetings for things to start. Use that time because you're now in the zone. So that's another help, another clue. The last thing I will say is how this actually works on a daily basis. First, when you wake up, what we're trying to do right now is that most of our day we operate in a sort of near panic mode, and that's really largely our reptilian brain, our neolimbic brain that's functioning, our mammalian brain. So little of our neocortex, our human brain. This is the brain that allows us to think, be creative, plan ahead. And this is the brain that we want to activate. This is also our seat of compassion. It's our seat of kindness. It's our seat of cognitive thinking. So that's what we want to tap into. And the two can't function together. So the more we keep switching into our stress brain, the less creative we are, the less focused we are, the less productive we are. So as soon as you wake up, take a minute or two to just think about what your day is going to be like. Think about your goals, whether it's 1, 2, or 3 goals. Let's not do more than that because we have enough going on. And believe that everything that you have is already within you or well on its way. There are a lot of things that you're not going to be able to control, but what you can control is your action and how consciously you do it. Because not doing it is almost surely going to ensure failure, right? Okay, so that's 2 minutes in the morning. Sometime during the day, you need to have thought about this in the morning, slot in those 20 minutes. I have often said no to meetings just because I have my slot at that time. So this is what's going to be important to you because this is also the rest of your life that you're looking at, right? If you don't commit to it now, when will there ever be a good time to do it? Once again, before you go to sleep, evaluate. As the evening comes, if you know that you haven't got your 20 minutes in, get whatever you can in, such that just before you go to bed, you can think about your goals again and believe that this is you and that this is the life that you can manifest. All right. Now, do we have any questions? 2 minutes in the morning, 2 minutes in the evening, and 20 minutes sometime during the day. While I'm waiting, thank you for all your comments. I did have a question that came in about healing, and it's one of the goals I have mentioned. I'd just like to explain, and we're going to wrap this up in the next 2-3 minutes. So whatever you have, do go ahead and ask me right now. But you can also email me, of course. I've sent you all my email address, and it's there on my website. How healing works is that there's a lot we don't know about the brain today. But one thing we do know for sure, that stress is hormones coursing through our body, right? And this impacts all of our physiological functions, including healing. So when we switch from our reptilian brain, from our like mammalian brain into our neocortex, into our brain of compassion, into our brain of thinking, into our brain of logic, then we also release within ourselves happy hormones, hormones of contentment, hormones of peace and calm. And that allows our body to go into the state of rest and digest. So you'll start finding that a lot of your tummy problems, a lot of your stress, a lot of like that sense of panic, the pain, the backaches will start to disappear. But like with anything, this needs practice and it needs to be done consciously every day. How this can promote healing, science truly doesn't know the nitty gritties of how this works, but we do know. There's a documentary on Netflix, it's called Heal, you can look it up. They talk there about radical remissions in cancer. Unable to explain how it is, but some of the commonalities have been reduction of stress, healthy lifestyle, good eating, going into the outdoors, having a community around you, having friends for support, having a purpose in life. So there you go. It's like 7 basic things which we can incorporate. Question, is it important to wake up at 5 a.m.? Okay, the 5 a.m. club. Here's what I'll ask you, Manoj. Is it important for you? Okay, now when I was writing my book, I found that I was simply not getting the time. Somehow life sort of started getting in the way. I actually found an amazing site called FocusMate. And I would book an appointment on that. It's a free site. You just book an appointment there to work with another person. He's your buddy for accountability. And yes, you can use technology, but as a means towards an end. So I would find that what was most important to me at that time was writing my book, but it was also getting enough sleep. So what I would do is, if I found that I'd only got to bed by 11 o'clock, I would count 7 hours from there and then book my FocusMate session. So I would not wake up at 5 o'clock every day, but I would wake up 7 hours from when I went to sleep. And I would try every day to make that earlier and earlier so that I could wake up at the time that gave me enough time. And that's how you need to pick and choose. I feel like absolutes and this whole thing of, hey guys, look at me, I lost 20 kilos. Now you do the same and you will also lose 20 kilos. These are fallacies. We're all individuals. We have our own circumstances. We really have to pick the path that works for us. Can we change our goals as we go through the program? You can, and you probably must as well. As you start manifesting these things, you'll see things changing a little bit. But as long as you're not doing it from a place of fear, all right, you'll start getting more and more insights for sure. It's like how I began by thinking that, wow, I want to build a coaching platform for all of India and get coaches on there. And as I started thinking about it every day, I realized it didn't sound authentic to me. And that's when I said, no, my dharma is pulling me in a different direction. I want to be able to help people who cannot necessarily help themselves. I want to reach out to people for whom this is way more than a luxury. So yes, the goal will and must change. The world changes, we change. So why won't your goals? What if the goal sounds unrealistic in the beginning? Like I said, even the most insurmountable task can eventually be achieved. You need to ask yourself why you have that goal, right? Yes, if you'd asked me 5 years ago, could I ever reach a point where I'm in a group of people, everyone's angry around me, can I keep my center in that? It would have seemed insurmountable to me at that point. But today, and very often when negative things go out of our lives, we don't even realize that is gone. Suddenly I found myself in a meeting one day and I'd managed to hold my center. So in answer to your question, I'm proof that it does work. And it can work for you because we have that in ourselves. The essence of us is calm. The essence of us is bliss. The essence of us is happiness. Now, we cloud ourselves with our labels, our obligations, our to-dos. But if we come back to the essence, we are all powerful. Now I know I promised like 20 minutes. So if anybody does have to leave, please do. Thank you for being here. I hope you're on board. Pick your accountability. Use me. I am here for the next 100 days. I'll keep answering questions for a few more minutes. So no worries. What is the recommended minimum hours of sleep? Ashim, there's no one size fits all. I will say that the good way to figure these things out is just to check your energy level on a long term, check how quick you recover from like coughs and colds, just how you feel during the day. This whole thing of the 9 to 5 day actually began when the industrial revolution began, and they needed to keep industries running 24/7. Then we had, everybody had to work by the clock. Before that, people would have to wake up when they needed to milk the cows, and then they'd take a rest in the middle of the day, and then they'd go back to their work, and then they'd finish when the sun went down. It was so much more organic. People were so much more in tune with their bodies. I'll be quite honest, there are days when I've woken up, I've worked out, and by 1 o'clock, I am tired. I take a 10-minute power nap then, and I feel awesome. For myself, I found that sometimes it's 7 hours. If I'm feeling a little sick, I do a little bit more than that. I have to say, I've been a chronic 5-6 hour sleeper. And now with my 7 hour non-negotiable, I feel like I'm operating with a different brain. There's like somebody else's brain in my head. So that's how much of a transformation it can make. Try out different things, and happy to sort of discuss this, see that what feels good. Listen to your body. Your intuition will tell you a lot. What if one of my goals is out and out materialistic? Works make me happy. So it is a myth, and in fact, this is one of the big criticisms of the whole mindfulness movement, that it makes you believe that you have to give up the material life, and that you have to only be other thinking. There is nothing wrong with materialism. The problem only lies in your attachment to it. Okay. Now, if you're going to build a big company that employs 3,000 people, God knows you're going to have like several million in your bank as well. But that is a byproduct. When your goal itself is 5 million or 2 million or whatever that may be, then what happens is that there's a lot more that can shake you up, that can rattle you, and that can agitate you in that process, because everything relates to this money. My God, am I going to lose this money? When am I going to get this money? Oh my God, this is impacting me. This is impacting me. Everything will impact you. You should enjoy the good life. You should enjoy the things that come with it. But they unfortunately come best when your focus is much bigger, not that being the focus. So it's about the attachment to the materialism, not so much about whether it exists or not. The other flip side is that even if you lose it overnight for any reason, or you lose some part of it, it doesn't break you. We read about people who do badly in business and commit suicide and go into depression, and it's because that attachment exists, right? That's where your ego is. That's where your identification is. So if you keep your identification large, wide, away from yourself, with a sense of service, then everything that comes is just a bonus and for you to enjoy. I enjoy it, but it's not essential. Thank you. Why am I doing this program for free? Couple of reasons. One of my current in this particular 100 days of focus is to manifest my show. All right. I'm actually trying to create. And the second is what I consider my dharma. I thought about what my needs were, my materialistic needs, and by the grace of God, I have enough support that I don't need to be earning a lot of money. Initially, I thought it'd be so cool for me to prove how I can make this like a fabulous, big earning model. But I realized that that's going to take my focus in a particular direction. And I still do need money, but I do enough work to get me that money. It gives me free time to actually build out something else. So my dharma, like I said, was to help the people that cannot actually have access to this. But I'm also planning a television show where I'm hoping to show real life transformations through the coaching process, through people picking their own authentic paths, so that entire families can be transformed. So if I have people who see this through with me, then for me, it's a little bit of proof of concept. Of course, it's not the same thing. This is a little self-driven that I'm asking of you. But the idea is that you can make your own changes. Okay. How do you share goals with me? There's a Facebook group. Please log on to my page, Dynamic Living. There's a group there called Dynamic Living Circle. You can go ahead and state your goals there. If you're a little shy about that, go ahead and email them to me directly, sandhya@dynamicliving.co. When we are disappointed, um, is what that 1 hour can seem like a lot of time. On a day that you cannot do 1 hour and you've done just 2 minutes, you feel that little bit of satisfaction. After a while, you start getting addicted to that satisfaction. So if you are at the stage of that lazy donkey that I spoke about, I'm so sorry, donkey, please get somebody to come and beat you and push you and mold you into that phase so that you can at least get into the flow. So pick the support that you need, because you know what, no man is an island, and it's no fun to do things completely on your own either. What if we don't feel rested and wake up and it's too late to start the day? Here's the thing. I understand, and particularly for mothers of young children, sometimes you wake up and you're already on because there's a child crying. Again, be kind to yourself. My mindfulness teacher, Thich Nhat Hanh, says that you can be fully present for yourself even when you are with somebody. So if your child is crying, pick the child up, and you and your child can be fully in the moment. Speak to your child about your 2 minutes. Tell him or her about it. You don't have to lose yourself just because you've gone to somebody else. That for me was a very powerful learning, because I also am surrounded by people all the time. And if I cannot be present for myself when I'm there with you, how can I be of any use to you? Okay. Oh, about feeling rested. Yes. Okay. Again, this is sometimes something that we sometimes feel when we've just started a new company or we have a young child. We feel like we're constantly tired, and you feel like you're just sipping on sleep, right? Our sleep never gets deep, and we don't go through all of our cycles. My heart really goes out to you. This is where I would say, be prepared to let a few things go if you have to, because it's like being on an airplane. If you don't put your own oxygen mask on first, you're of no help to anybody else. So even if it means letting go of a dirty house, or not doing something that you'd hope was a nice to do career wise or something like that, here you're almost like in maintenance mode, you're in survival mode. Give your child to somebody to hold for 2 hours, get that nap in whatever odd time, let it be less than perfect, sleep in the cab, uh, take a time out from somewhere, say no to parties if you have to. Get what's important to you, and trust me, once you focus on the things that are important to you, it's going to be, you get so addicted to it. I wake up in the morning so charged up, I thought I would dread writing my book on a daily basis because I am not that person. But it becomes the new normal. You just get used to it, and that's my hope for you as well. Okay, I think that's all that we have for now. Uh, all the very best, guys. This is about, the other thing is, when you forge a new path for yourself, I think it was Ralph Waldo Emerson who said that, you also become a guide. You also pave the way for others. So it's almost impossible to make somebody else come into your path by force, but you go ahead and make your own path and people will follow you. I wish you luck. This won't be the last you'll be seeing of me, I hope. Let's work our way towards 2020. All the best, and thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful day.